The doctor saved the woman on her deathbed. When the doctor saw the car, he froze, realizing that a patient arrives at the emergency room with inexplicable symptoms. What starts as a regular night becomes a race against time. Dr. Michael Turner faces an impossible decision. A shocking diagnosis reveals a sinister plan. Bribes, secrets, and a dangerous conspiracy begin to emerge. It was a freezing night at Bellevue Hospital in New York. Dr. Michael Turner, a dedicated cardiologist, was beginning his night shift. The reception was calm, with only a few patients. Michael headed to the doctor's lounge, where he settled down to review medical charts. Among them, one caught his attention, a 30-year-old woman with a history of hypertension. Something about the case seemed out of the ordinary. As he analyzed the details, the sharp sound of an ambulance siren broke the silence. Female, 30 years old, suffering a heart attack, announced the paramedic upon entry. Feeling a growing urgency, Michael quickly rushed to the emergency room. There, he found the patient, pale and sweating, struggling with intense chest pain. The medical team, under his supervision, worked to stabilize her. Michael closely observed the monitors. The patient's heart rhythm was alarmingly irregular, suggesting something more than just a simple heart attack. "We need a detailed blood test as soon as possible," he instructed, with a sense that something was very wrong. After the situation was brought under control, Michael tried to focus on other tasks, but his mind kept returning to the patient. Who was she? What could have caused a heart attack in such a young woman? This doubt followed him throughout the night until, around 3 in the morning, he returned to the ICU to check on her condition. She was stable, but something still bothered him. In the lounge, Nurse Jenny noticed Michael's pensive expression. "Dr. Turner, are you okay? You look worried." "Yes, Jenny. This patient, something doesn't seem right. I have a bad feeling about it," he confessed. Jenny nodded. "I'll keep an eye on her too. Let me know if anything comes up." "Thank you, Jenny. That helps a lot," Michael replied, feeling slightly relieved to have someone share his concerns. The night dragged on slowly, but the feeling that something serious was about to happen wouldn't leave him. Michael knew that dawn would bring more answers, but the wait was unsettling. The following night, the hospital was busier, with a steady flow of patients. Michael walked the halls, still reflecting on the case from the previous night, when a tall man wearing a dark coat and a hat that obscured part of his face approached. "Dr. Turner, you'd better drop this case," the man said in a low, threatening voice, handing Michael a small package before disappearing. Intrigued and apprehensive, Michael went to his office and opened the package. Inside, he found $10,000 in cash. The shock was immediate, but he didn't have much time to process it, as a nurse quickly entered. "Dr. Turner, we have the blood test results from that patient." Michael took the results and began reading. Elevated levels of a rare toxin were detected in the patient's blood. He felt a chill down his spine. "My God, she's been poisoned," he murmured. Now, the money and the threat made sense. Someone was trying to stop him from investigating the case. Determined to do the right thing, Michael immediately began detoxification treatment. The situation was critical, but he couldn't ignore what he had discovered. "No matter what this means for me, this woman needs help," he thought. The weight of responsibility was immense, but his medical ethics gave him no other choice. Jenny entered the room, visibly worried. "Dr. Turner, what's going on? You look tense." "She was poisoned, Jenny, and someone tried to bribe me to drop the case," Michael replied, showing her the package of money. Jenny's eyes widened. "That's terrible. What are you going to do?" "I'm going to keep treating her and find out who's behind this. I can't abandon a life in danger," Michael affirmed, determined. The tension was palpable. Michael felt the pressure mounting, but his compassion and commitment to human life drove him forward, regardless of the consequences. Michael's third shift began with a growing sense of unease. Walking the hospital's corridors, he tried to stay calm, but the previous day's threat still haunted him. Then, the mysterious man appeared again, this time accompanied by a large German shepherd. "I warned you, doctor. Drop the case or the consequences will be severe," the man said, his gaze icy. The dog growled softly, its eyes fixed on Michael. Michael took a deep breath, trying not to show the fear he felt. "My duty is to care for my patients. I won't just ignore this," he replied, keeping his voice steady. The man stepped forward. "Think about your safety and those you love," he threatened before walking away with the dog, leaving Michael in a heightened state of alert. Back in his office, Michael felt the weight of the situation. Not only was the patient in danger, but now he found himself in a dangerous position as well. Determined to protect her life, he decided to dig deeper into the patient's identity and the possible reasons behind the poisoning. However, all his attempts to find out more led to dead ends. It was clear that someone was hiding important information. Meanwhile, the patient was beginning to respond positively to the treatment. Michael felt a small victory, but he knew the danger wasn't over. At 3 in the morning, he was confronted again, this time by a tall, elegant woman. "Dr. Turner, we warned you to leave this alone," she said with a cold smile. "You're meddling where you're not wanted." Michael kept his composure, looking directly at her. "I can't abandon a life in danger," he replied firmly. The woman raised an eyebrow, impressed by his determination. "Courage is admirable, doctor, but it can also be dangerous. Think carefully," she said, before turning and leaving with the man. Michael knew he needed help. The next morning, he picked up the phone and called Detective James Holloway, an old friend. "James, I need you here. I think a patient is in danger," he quickly explained. James, always pragmatic, replied, "I'm on my way. Don't let anyone near her until I get there." With James' arrival, Michael felt a sense of relief, having someone he could trust to help handle the situation. The detective wasted no time analyzing the documents and the circumstances surrounding the patient. "Something doesn't add up here," James said, frowning. "Let's talk to these people." James took the mysterious man and the woman to an improvised interrogation room. Meanwhile, Michael stayed by the patient's side, ensuring she received the appropriate care and remained stable. Hours later, James returned with a grave expression. "We have a confession. The man is the patient's husband. He was trying to kill her to take her money and live with his mistress, who is the woman with him." Michael felt a mix of relief and horror. "So, they tried to poison her? And the money, it was to bribe me," he reflected aloud. James nodded, confirming. "Yes, they planned everything to look like a natural heart attack. Luckily, you caught on and ordered the right tests." Jenny, who was nearby, looked at Michael with admiration. "You really saved her life, Dr. Turner." "It was instinct and maybe a little luck," Michael replied modestly, though feeling deeply grateful for trusting his intuition. James continued, explaining that the husband and mistress would be arrested and prosecuted for attempted murder. "They're now in custody. We'll take care of the rest," assured the detective, placing a reassuring hand on Michael's shoulder. While James took care of the legal procedures, Michael focused on ensuring that Emily, the patient, received all the necessary support for her recovery, both physically and emotionally. He knew her journey to recovery was just beginning, and he would be there to support her every step of the way. With the culprits arrested, Michael concentrated on Emily's recovery. He knew that beyond medical treatment, she would need emotional support to overcome the trauma of almost being murdered by her own husband. He worked closely with the hospital staff to arrange therapy sessions and provide her with all the support necessary. When Emily finally woke up fully, still weak, Michael was by her side. "You're safe now, Emily. The police are handling everything. We'll make sure you have all the support you need," he said gently, holding her hand carefully. Emily looked at him, her eyes filled with gratitude and confusion. "Thank you, Dr. Turner." "I don't know how to thank you," she said, her voice breaking with emotion. Michael smiled, trying to comfort her. "You don't need to thank me. Just focus on getting better. We're all here to help you," he responded, feeling a deep wave of compassion for her. In the weeks that followed, Michael became a constant presence in Emily's life. He monitored her medical progress and spent time talking with her, helping her process what had happened. The connection between them began to grow stronger, and a mutual trust formed. One day, while discussing her future, Emily asked, "Dr. Turner, why did you do all this for me? It would have been easier to just not get involved." Michael took a deep breath, reflecting on the question. Because it was the right thing to do. As a doctor, my duty is to save lives, no matter the circumstances. And besides, you deserve to live, Emily. No one has the right to take that from you, he replied sincerely. Emily smiled, wiping away a tear. You're a good person, Michael. I don't know what I would have done without you. As Emily recovered, she felt the need to thank Michael in a special way. Dr. Turner, I'd like to thank you for everything you've done. How about a dinner when I'm out of here, she suggested, a sparkle in her eyes. Michael, touched by the invitation, smiled. I'd love that, Emily. It would be my pleasure, he replied, feeling a special connection growing between them. The dinner was a memorable occasion. Away from the hospital environment, they could relax and get to know each other better. Emily turned out to be a strong and resilient woman with a captivating sense of humor. Michael, in turn, shared his passions and challenges in medicine, revealing a more personal side. You're amazing, Michael. Not only did you save me, but you also gave me hope to carry on. I'll never forget what you did for me, Emily said, with heartfelt sincerity. I just did what anyone should do. But it's nice to hear that from you, Michael responded, feeling deeply grateful. At the end of the night, Michael walked her to her door. He felt a mix of nerves and excitement. Thank you for a wonderful evening, he said, hesitantly. Emily smiled. I should be the one thanking you, Michael, for everything. And before he could respond, she leaned in and kissed him softly, a gesture filled with promise and hope. The months that followed were marked by a growing closeness. Michael and Emily's relationship blossomed into something deep and meaningful. They eventually decided to marry in a simple ceremony, surrounded by friends and colleagues. During the ceremony, Michael, looking at Emily, felt profoundly grateful for following his instincts and finding love amidst adversity. At the reception, James, the detective, approached Michael. You've been through a lot these past few months, huh? He joked. Michael laughed, feeling light. Yes, but it was all worth it. I found something I didn't even know I was looking for, he replied, glancing at Emily. James nodded approvingly. I'm happy for you both. You deserve all the happiness in the world, he said, giving Michael a friendly pat on the back. As the celebration continued, Michael and Emily danced together, surrounded by loved ones. They knew they were starting a new chapter, ready to face any challenge together, with the certainty that they had found each other and discovered the true meaning of a new beginning.